July, August, September, 4 months. And so far, there is no determination yet on responsibility.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's something that Congress should address.
Sir, if I may.
Mr. Eugenio?
Your Honor, ever since this accident happened, no government agency has really come to investigate. I imagine that if I were a tourist in the United States, the day that it happens, police will come to me, get my statement, get an investigation, convene a committee, and then come up with a report right away. Now, in our boat, there was a Japanese national who died. The week before that this accident happened, my family and I were vacationing in Japan. And they were very gracious hosts. I told them, please come to the Philippines because it's beautiful. They wanted to dive in Palawan. Ngayon, ano yung mukhang ihaharap ko sa kanila ngayon? What can I show them now?
Worth dying for.
Yes.
What's that?
Country is so beautiful, it's worth dying for.
That's the advertisement on my memorial chapel in Bacolod.
Sir, if I
A
may,
place where people are dying to go. Okay.
sir, if I may, it's not just about the tourism industry. As I understand it, Batangas port is used by 2 million people every year. So if we're able to fix, part of our advocacy hopefully is to correct the legislation. My understanding is legislation regarding maritime laws date back to the 1888 from the Code of Commerce. The Code of Commerce is the code where we took our laws. Numipis na siya ng numipis. Most of them natira na lang is the maritime law.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Eugenio, that's the reason why we're being brought in to pass the maritime code now.
Yes, sir.
For the first time, no?
Yes, sir.
There's good feedback from your Congressman Roilo.
I wouldn't downplay the Spanish Maritime Code because our vessels are Spanish-era architecture. So let's not give the government an excuse to say it's the fault of Congress because they have not passed the new Maritime Code. In fact, we're talking about an incident that happened, that should have happened in Spanish times. And during Spanish times, they would have been punished if we were still under Spain.
Sir, actually, if I may,
Just a minute, Mr. Eugenio. Actually, Congressman Locsin gave you an idea, Madam Bautista earlier. Suspend everybody first and then let them get the check inspection from your firm first before everybody goes out to the seas again, because that way everybody will toe the line. If not, that's the reason you're being harassed. You have problems with everybody because everyone has to toe the line. You can suspend them first and convince them that they're all seaworthy. Mr. Eugenio?
Sir, I've been in consultation with Professor Reggie Kimbo of the UP College of Law. He's a professor of transportation, and his belief is that we need to examine the restrictions on passenger rights, make it pro-public interest and rather than ship owner friendly. Examples are Article 587, which limits the liability of the ship owner to his interest. Article 366, which gives claimants only 24 hours to give notice of its claims. There are really few provisions in the code dealing with passenger rights. Sir, also, because we're discussing the maritime code, these bankas should have been phased out during the administration of President Ramos. The only reason why they've been extended 5 years, correct me if I'm wrong, is because people who bought their boats were allowed to enjoy the boats, but continually to this day, these boats have not been phased out. These are boats that are not SOLAS compliant with the IMO, which we are a signatory of since 1964. Sir, I'm doing this advocacy so that we can travel safely, so that our families will be safe and kept whole.
We're very grateful, Mr. Eugenio, because you're actually prompting us to act right away on matters that should have been done many years ago. So, Madam Bautista, I'd like to thank Mr. Eugenio, but you have any reply to that?
Mr. Chair, Your Honors, I think I also would like to thank Mr. Eugenio. We are on the same side, and there are certain provisions in the draft Marine Code that will actually address that. There's a chapter on limits of liability, but we are adopting the international standards on this based on an IMO regulation. And then also relative to the investigations that are happening now, part of the Marine Code is a chapter that will now establish a Maritime Transport Safety Board. Initially, we wanted a Transport Safety Board established, but since it's a Marine Code, we cannot go beyond the maritime. So we requested for the creation of a Marine Transport Safety Board composed of independent personnel, not from Marina, not from Coast Guard, not from the OTC. It's a separate organization that will be reporting directly to the President, and they will be given prosecutorial powers, because right now, all the investigative findings are referred to DOJ and the Ombudsman, and then it's up to them to file proper charges. So with the creation of this Maritime Transport Safety Board, we will authorize them to already file charges to whoever they find negligent. Kasi po yung BMI ngayon, their mandate is only to look at the administrative liability of the ship owner. There's no investigation that's looking at the negligence of government offices. So we're giving all those powers to this new board that can now even file charges directly against government officials who were negligent. Kasi po ngayon, walang parameters for that. So, ang nangyayari po, the BMI report will be forwarded to Marina. Marina will investigate its own people, and then I will recommend administratively what can be done to my people. But for any criminal aspect, then we refer everything back to DOJ again for the filing of the proper
Mr. Chairman,
cases.
Congressman Roxy.
Mr. Chairman, let's not try to reinvent the wheel here. Actually, you can't do that. Because the jurisdiction of the Department of Justice is prosecution. It is enough for you to come out with an honest investigation and honest conclusions. Nailing these people who own this boat. You just nail them, and then it is for the Department of Justice, for the victims to file civil liability cases against them based on your findings. Because if you take jurisdiction away from DOJ, this reform will never pass anyway. It's like asking for special counsel, which of course we effectively killed. And we should have killed him. You just have to elect the right president, and you will have the right DOJ secretary. You can't create bodies outside the government.
Thank you. Madam Bautista.
Mr. Chair, that was really the intent. But when we presented that to the Senate, they kept insisting for us to file the charges directly. That's why we had to alter the original, because the original was to forward it to DOJ. But when we presented it to the Senate, they wanted to file the charges, give the powers to file the charges. So that's why we...
Shall I identify the senators?
I can tell you, sir,